Okay, cattle mutilations, and this is my forte. First of all, there are several things wrong with the term cattle mutilations. Two major glaring. Number one, it's not just cattle that are being harvested, and the animals are not being mutilated. Okay, you're going to see here, they're precision and surgical removed. They're not being mutilated. My enemy doesn't mutilate. You take an axe and you hack something halfway to death. Okay, that's not what happened, and it's not just cattle. I've got cases of elk, deer, horses, goats, and even dogs that have been harvested. Okay, and I'll tell you what, at the end of it, I'll tell you what I think's going on here. Once again, it's my opinion.
I've heard humans in.
There have been. There's two cases that I know of. One in El Salvador and the other one's in down by Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay. This is Norwood, Missouri, where this case started. Now let me give you a brief. What happened? UFO hunters contacted me and wanted to know if I would go to Missouri and investigate a case that happened in October of 2013. It was February when they contacted me. So my partner and I, Bob, left my house in Locust Grove at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a 4.5 hour drive to this ranch. When we got there, went up to the house, knocked on the door, was going to introduce myself. The wife says that her husband, Galen, is out in the woods cutting wood because he heated his house and his barn with wood, and there was a major storm coming in, snowstorm. In fact, they had a tornado in Norwood, Missouri that night. So she said, just go out to the gate and drive across the pasture, and we run into my husband. So Bob and I jump in my truck and we go through the gate, and just as we got through the gate, we see the tractor coming up over the hill, and it's Galen driving the tractor, and from that distance I can see that he's pissed. He's got a scowl on his face. And I immediately turn around and look to make sure that we had closed the gate. Having grown up on the farm, there's two things that we do. You're a rancher. If the gate's open, leave the goddamn gate open. If it's closed, close the gate when you go through it, because they may be driving animals either way. You're going to screw up their operation. So I turned around and we had closed the gate. But I could see him, and Bob, even Bob, when he's standing outside the truck, he goes, he's mad. Like, you could just tell the body English. So he pulls up. I introduced myself and Bob, quote unquote, this is a direct quote, the bastards got me last night. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, they got one of my cows. I go, last night? We were there to investigate a case that happened in October. Well, this is the cow. Now, there are two things about this I did not know when I was doing the metal detector on the animal. Number one, I didn't know that the vet had been there the week before and had checked the herd out. He was getting ready to take some of the cows to market, and the vet came out to give him a certification that the herd was healthy when he took it up to the sale line. Number two, this cow was pregnant, or let me scratch that, was pregnant. The fetus had been removed. Did not know at the time we were doing the investigation that she had been pregnant. We started taking pictures, crime scene photographs basically is what we're doing. And after Bob had snapped a bunch of pictures, I got out the metal detector and I had walked around about a 30-foot circle around the cow, wanding, got nothing. Then I started wanding the carcass and I got a hit. Now, my partner and the rancher were standing next to the cow when I had the wand and I was over the carcass, and it was in and around the ear and the neck area when I got it. Now, I had calibrated, that metal detector was calibrated for gold and platinum. And it came up on the screen, the little computer there, that it was platinum, is what it was telling me. And Bob was actually kneeling down near the muzzle of the animal, because this animal, this is important, died while it was eating. There was hay in the mouth. Galen had put out hay 10 o'clock that night, for the herd. And you can see the herd standing in the background looking at us, you know, like, what the hell are you doing? That's the tractor, by the way, that he was riding. And Bob had taken his knife and opened up the mouth, and there was hay, a mouthful of hay in the animal's in the mouth. And Bob says, God damn, this animal died while it was eating. When I'm got the wand out, I get a hit on the neck area. And Bob looked at me and goes, you got something? I go, yeah, it's platinum. So what I did is I carry a little bit of gold and platinum with me to calibrate the machine. So I recalibrated the metal detector, went back to the area where I got the hit, I got nothing. Then I moved a little bit further down into this area right here. Right in here. And I got a hit. And Bob looked at me and goes, you got another hit? Well, long story short, it was moving. Whatever I was capturing, it was, oh yeah. And you got to understand my humor. It started moving back towards the jaw area, up in this area here, and I was following. And it seemed every time I get a hit, it would reverse direction and go back the other way. Well, it started back into the chest cavity of the animal. Bob goes, don't let it get into the chest cavity. And I'm looking at him and go, how the hell am I going to That's my partner for me. He goes, don't let it get into the chest cavity. Okay, well, tell me how to stop it. Now, I got to stop there because Galen, the gentleman that owned the herd and everything, he got spooked. He backed way off. And he goes, what the hell's going on with my cow? I have no clue. All I know is that we've got something like an implant moving around inside this animal. It came up. It came up, right up into, where you see this ear tag? It came right up into the canal. By the way, I've got the ear. I still got it. It came right up into the ear canal, and I could see a luminous glow down inside the cow's ear. Wow. And Bob, my partner, goes, holy shit. He goes, let me go get an axe. The other says, I've got a chainsaw, which he did on the tractor. Okay? Yeah, that's
been messy, deal.
I mean, we were thinking.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, by the time Galen runs over to the tractor to get the damn chainsaw, the damn thing goes down inside the chest. I couldn't stop it.
Read your mind.
I don't know what it read, but if it read my mind, it knew it's perverted. So it got down into the chest cavity, and I lost it. Okay, well, I get on the phone with the producer of UFO Hunters, and I'm telling him everything. And he goes, well, don't go anywhere. He says, I'm getting on the phone now to get a camera crew and everything. They want to film this live. I'm looking at it as a crime scene, and I have a suspect, basically. Hollywood producers are looking at it as good TV. I could give a shit about TV. Okay, I want to find out what's going on. I said, look, give me an authorization. The rancher, Galen, already said we could have the carcass. I said, can we have this as evidence? He goes, take whatever you want. Take the whole goddamn thing, which I wanted to do. I got a hold of the producer and I said, look, there's a locker, a storage unit in Norwood. It runs about $500 a day for a full animal. I said, let me put this in a deep freeze and freeze the animal. And he goes, why so much? I said, because they're not going to allow me to put an animal that died under mysterious circumstances in with other hanging beef.
Yeah,
I need a whole
contaminated beef.
Yeah, I need a sterile environment. Plus, I don't want to contaminate that or the other hanging beef in there. So we're going to have to rent the whole locker. It's going to run about $500. Well, let me get back to you on that. So I'm standing out in the field with my thumb up my butt, waiting for them to make a decision. Okay. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service is. Severe storms are blowing, and you could see it coming. I mean, the wind picked up. Right now, it's in that picture was taken. It was about 38 degrees outside, and the temperature dropped down to 20, and it started sleeting and hailing, lightning and thundering. Long story short, we had a tornado that night, and they didn't get back to me until after the sunset. We were back at the hotel, and they go, no, they're not going to authorize it. I'm pissed. Okay, he sent me out there on an investigation. I've got something really good, blah, blah, blah. When we come back the next morning, whatever was there came back. And the uterus, the stomach contents, and the jaw had been removed in the middle of a major storm. I mean, there was a tornado on the ground in Norwood that night. I've got the weather forecast and everything verified.
No steps or footprints or anything?
Nope, nothing. That's where the drone would have really come in handy. Seriously. But we didn't have it. There you go. Yeah, we do now. That's what, when they came back, that section of the jawline had been taken out. The eye was missing, and the uterus and the stomach contents were gone. I did not know until 2 days later that the calf was missing also. She was pregnant.
There's no blood.
No blood.
Oh, yeah.
That's Bob, my partner. There's another crime scene photo. I thought we had that, but I apologize, we don't. And Storch County is in San Luis Valley in Colorado. And we got contacted by the Storch County Sheriff's Department to come down there. And what's interesting about that particular case is the herd, which was about 500 animals, was about 6 miles from the ranch house. The rancher was the night before, and all the cows have a ear tag in them, their numbers. And he has them in the computer, and he can pull up that number telling you when the cow was born, when it was vaccinated, how old it was, what it basically weighed, everything about it. The next morning, 75 feet from his front door, is this cow laying in the driveway. And it is harvested. There's no blood. All the sexual organs are gone. The lung and heart are gone. And the veterinarian report the necropsy that was done on the animals that it died of rapid loss of blood. With the Norwood case, that animal, the veterinarian came out and did a necropsy of the field, but it died of rapid loss of blood was the cause of death. But there was no blood on the ground.
We had another investigation that was up by you that you went, talked to the farmer. He'd already buried the cow because I said you gotta go back and get samples. And you went back and he'd already buried the cow.
He already buried the cow. Right?
Yeah. But it died of rapid blood loss also.
What happens with a lot of ranchers and farmers is that the animal right there is worth about $1,000. They're insured. The insurance company will not pay off on the animal if the certificate reads cause of death unknown. So they'll tell you, oh, I got hit by lightning or this, that, and the other, okay, in order to make the insurance. And a lot of them will pull the cow off to the field bone pile, and they'll either bury it or just pull it up on the bone pile, and they won't even report it. So a lot of these cases we don't know about until after the fact. What's interesting about this case, there's a woman, Joan, and she lives about 12 miles due north. In fact, her house is right up over the hill on the other side. Her husband is a over-the-road trucker, and he is specialized in carrying hazardous material for the United States government. On the night that we left at 4 o'clock, or the morning, at 4 o'clock in the morning, when we left my house in Locust Grove, we're driving to Norwood, Missouri, he's getting up to go pick up a load of torpedoes in Kansas City for the United States Navy. And he's going to drive them to the West Coast or whatever. He leaves the house, and he gets about 1.5 miles from his house. He calls back to his wife and says, "Are you still up?" And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, go out on the porch and look to the south." And she does. And she sees this huge light in the sky, and she starts filming it with her recorder. And in that, you see a light that comes up from the ground and joins this big light that's hovering above the field. Well, when you stand on her porch and she points out where she was standing looking, it is directly in line with Galen's ranch. And she had a time stamp. You could see that it was like 5 o'clock in the morning when this was transpiring. Galen says, excuse me, he got up about 4:30, turned on the yard light, and started his tractor because he's going to go out and cut wood because the storm was coming in. That's about the time that this object, what I think happened was is that you could stand on his back porch and you could see where that cow was laying. And I think when he turned on the yard light and started his tractor, who or whatever was out there, he spooked him off. And he found it when he went out there to harvest. And of course, when we got there, the animal was, by the way, let me point something out. There are 2 stages of rigor mortis. I don't know if you know that or not on the bottom. Rigor mortis is setting in here because you can see how stiff the legs are.
Yeah.
And it will, after several hours, that rigor mortis, depending on the size of the animal, the temperature, ambient temperature, and everything else, that rigor mortis will dissipate. And then it will come back again. And that's the first stages of rigor mortis there. That animal had only been dead for about, by the time we got there, probably 4, maybe 5 hours. So.
Oh, they swell up and then they have some kind of pressure release and then go back down.
Well, on any dead body, human, animal, whatever, gases start to, when it starts to decompose, that's the reason why bodies that are not prepared right never stay buried. That's a joke among cops. She asked what's my take on what's going on. It's a food source. Now I've been in several heated debates with several well-known personalities whom I won't mention. Only because they're not here to defend themselves. I think they're full of shit as a Christmas turkey. Okay. Who said that he won't? No. A lot of those personalities think, well, they're monitoring the environment, they're seeing what the food chain. That's a bunch of BS because you don't have to kill the animal to get all the information you need to know what's going on inside that animal. Give them a piece of hair and a blood sample, and you can pretty much tell what the animal's doing, what kind of contaminants are in it, the whole 9 yards. You don't have to remove. What we're talking about here is all the soft tissue. Okay? And the soft tissue is the easiest to digest. Okay? Now, coming to that.
Maybe that without the ribs.
You don't eat blood sauce?
Ooh. Boudin? I don't want to know that.
Okay.
They tried to get me to
Everything we're talking about,
something.
if you look at predation, coyotes, raccoons, possums, you name it, any of your scavengers go after the soft tissue first. The tongue, the eye, the internal organs, because they're the easiest. You're not going to see them tearing out the jawline to get to the skin or the muscle. Muscle's hard to digest. Okay, so they're going to go after the soft tissue first. Stomach, heart, lung, and the blood, because it's easiest to digest. So, my theory, I think these animals are tagged, they're tracked, and then Linda Howe got this one right. They're harvested. You know, she did a documentary called Straight Harvest, and I give her credit for that. I told her straight to her face. I said, I think you nailed it. Okay, they are being harvested. They're not being harvested because they want to find out what's going on in the environment. They're harvesting it because it's a food source.
But it didn't take any worse than the gut, did it? It was stomach or anything.
We also heard the theory that they may use them for the DNA to use in the reproductive of their species.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think that's why they're into the sexual organs and.
Yeah,
What is it to do with
I've heard that. I don't know if you know this, Ed, in World War II, there was a shortage of blood. Imagine that. They found out that blood in cattle is very similar to ours. They can get the hemoglobin. So they did.
Oh.
They did. They separated it and they used plasma from cows to supplement Okay, but if, once again, I got into a very heated debate. If we take what we know that's being reported, and we're talking about a very minute number that we know about. My question is, what about the ones we don't know about? And I know of cases of deer, elk. I know of a case up in Colorado, in Moffett County. They found 12 head of elk on top of a mountain that had been harvested, just like what I explained to you. Okay, at above 11,000 feet. If that's the case, and I think there's been a couple of cases here in Oklahoma that deer have been harvested. Like I said, there's been dogs harvested, hogs. There's several cases in England where hogs, horses have been harvested exactly like that. I've got a case where the stallion was in a corral that was right next to the house and was harvested by the husband and wife were eating dinner. She went out, fed the horse, petted it, came in, ate dinner, came back out, and it had been harvested. So I think it's a food source. Who or whatever, and I know I've heard that supposition that it would be used in the reproductive system. I'll tell you who turned me on to that, Wendell Stevens. Okay, I don't know if you know who he's deceased now. Wendell Stevens was a retired colonel from the Air Force. And I was talking to him about Dulce, New Mexico. And he said, what do you know about cattle meats? And I said, well, I investigated them. I said, and that been a number of years ago. We were in a hotel room down in Las Vegas at a symposium. And I said, Wendell, I don't know yet. I said, we've got a couple of cases here. I don't know what's going on. And Wendell Stevens said, I'll tell you what's going on. It's a food source. And I said, how do you know that? And he said, there are rumors that ET doesn't have a digestive tract like we have, and that they absorb their nutrients. I'm telling you what he told me, and he may not be too far off. What they do is they take the soft tissue, the blood, they put it into a mixture and break it down to a very basic substance, and then they bathe themselves in it. They actually sit in a vat, and they absorb the nutrients in through their skin. They also secrete out through their skin, and he said it smells like sulfur when they do. Okay, I regret that I didn't get a chance to go any further in depth with Wendell Stevens at the time, but I always wanted to know how he knew that, where he was getting his information. Very intelligent.
Abductees report the smell, the sulfur smell after an abduction, or sort of like the smell of burning cardboard.
Yeah, see, I guess I'm kind of weird, but I like my steak burnt, and I love the smell of that. I do.
My steak burnt on the outside and pink on the inside.
Right. This phenomena that's going on, when I say that I believe, based upon the case in Norwood, Missouri, and what we discovered there, that the animals are implanted with that device, and it monitors them. And it's like your garden, you don't pick tomatoes until they're ripe, you don't pick peaches until they're ripe. And that device does a lot of things. Number one, it monitors the condition of the animal, and whatever's going on is being done internally. I think the entire DNA structure of the animal is being changed, and when it reaches a certain point, it's strictly a theory of mine, that's when they're harvested. It sends out a signal that, hey, this one's plump and ready to be harvested, and whoever they are, go and harvest the animal at the time. And the reason why they take the ear and the side of the face is, once again, this is a theory of mine. This whole thing was done in a matter of minutes. You know, the animals are being killed, and the process takes place, and it's probably all over with in about 2 minutes max. We had a serial burglar that was burglarizing, and we couldn't catch this son of a bitch. It was a pain in the ass. And we finally got him on video, of breaking into houses and stealing stuff out of the house. 61 seconds. From the moment he walked up to the house, he was in the house and out of the house in 61 seconds. And these were homes that were even alarmed. And we videotaped them, the alarm's going off. So what the point to the moral story is that it doesn't take as long as you think it does. And I think these animals are, like I said, targeted, they're tracked, and when the time is right, who or whatever comes in and harvests the parts and the blood, and it's all over with in a matter of minutes, maybe 2 minutes at the most. I watched a demonstration. I asked a veterinarian one time, I said, how long would it take for an animal's heart to pump out the blood? And he said, an animal about that size, about 3 or 4 minutes. He said the human will lose their blood in the same amount of time. The heart is a muscle and it'll pump it out. He said, extrapolate that if you had a pump on the other end.
Yeah.
So you got the heart pumping blood and you got another pump sucking it out. He said, matter of seconds, it's all over with. So I think that the whole process just takes a couple of minutes and it's over with.
I've also heard they die excruciating pain because they are killed in their life.
Well, sure.
Like you said, and
Well, if you're losing blood, you'll go to sleep.
right.
Okay, you'll lay down and go to sleep and
Not if they start cutting on you first.
what's that?
Not if they start cutting on you first.
Well, it's true. Yes, but,
I think they're there to do it.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think for harvesting, or I think there would be more of them. I mean, if there's a lot of UFOs out there, if they were using those for food, would you think there would be more? We find a lot more of that like this?
That's exactly my point.
There could be a lot of them.
I think that the numbers up in the 1,000 and take that worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd like to have them be lost out there. Not only cattle, but all the wildlife in a lot of places, yeah.
And why do they leave? I mean, if somebody, why not just snatch the animal? I don't think they. I think if they're looking at this area, I'm not giving a shit. There's nothing. And they're about it.
I think it's.
Anyway, that's a abbreviated version of cattle use,
But it's always.
but it's animal harvesting. Don't get hung up on just cows.